This is the Horse Radio Network.
Greetings, everyone. Coach Jen here, and thanks for tuning in to Horse Tip Daily, episode 1422, brought to you today by Corro. Today's tip features Horses in the Morning co-hosts Jamie and Glenn, and their guest is Dr. Seamans, and they are chatting about trailing horses long distances. And we'll get right to our tip after we hear from our sponsor, Corro. Have you shopped with Corro yet? Corro is the online retailer who is simplifying the way you shop horse care. With horse-friendly supplies and equipment to fuel your passion, they have everything from grooming supplies, barn supplies, to supplements and tack, and everything in between. They truly are the one source for all things horse. All of the products Corro sells and recommends have been tested for quality, so your horse only gets the best, which is exactly how it should be. They offer the best prices available, lightning-fast shipping, and convenient auto ship for those products you purchase regularly. Visit Corro today at Corro Shop, that's CORROSHOP.com, and use the code HRN for 10% off your first order. Do it today.
It's time to bring our favorite veterinarian onto the show, Dr. Madison Seamans. Hello, doctor.
Good morning.
Thank you for being here. Now, we were trying to connect on Zoom so I could actually see your face, but it didn't work out. So sadly, I'm not going to be able to see it.
The cosmos is trying to tell us something.
Now, usually when we talk to you, you are in Idaho, but you are not there anymore. Give us an update on your life.
We moved I spent my high school years in a little town called Ruidoso, New Mexico. It's up in the mountains. Some of the most beautiful country in the world. And I've just, the Lord opened some doors for us to be able to come back. And so we are back and setting up a new practice here and spending a lot of time riding our horses and just having a grand old time. It's just an amazing, amazing place. So we're tickled.
I feel like when you posted that you were moving, you mentioned something about retiring.
Yeah, I'm retiring back to, I'm only working about 80 hours a week now. So I'm really cutting back.
Yes, the life of a veterinarian. You never get a whole night's sleep for sure. Oh my gosh.
I'm gonna have my retirement party and my funeral on the same day just to save money.
That sounds like a good way to do it. Perfect. I'll be there, hopefully. So how's your lovely wife too? Is she adjusting to the because she's from Idaho, right?
No, but she's originally from, but she's definitely been making the transition back to New Mexico, and anytime you can just get her in a place where she can be on her horse, she's a pretty happy camper.
See, that's a good woman right there. This is a good woman.
Ooh, let me tell you, she's a heck of a horsewoman. She won the trail trials competition at the Idaho Horse Expo last year. And so that she keeps my horses written down, and so I don't have to worry about getting killed. She's really a ham.
That's awesome. Well, we wanted to talk to you a little bit today about hauling horses and stuff like that. But so I do adopt out a lot of horses, and we have a map at Horse and Hound Rescue, and we put a pin in it every time we adopt to a different location. And so far, I have sent one to Idaho. I've sent 3 to California, 3 to Florida. Again, I'm in the middle of Oklahoma, but recently, congratulations goes out to a new adopter, Helena, who adopted one, and she's in Rhode Island. So we were going to talk a little bit about hauling horses safely and getting them there in tip-top condition. So take it away. What do I need to write? I got a pen. I'm writing this stuff down. This
Oh, I so appreciate you guys. When we start thinking about hauling horses, there's everything we do with these guys is not at all even close to being natural, right? So, putting a horse in one of these aluminum boxes and send them down a freeway at 80 miles an hour. That's a scary proposition no matter what we do.
Right.
So from the psychological standpoint, I'm just going to leave that over to you guys and Buck Branham and those people that understand that a little bit better than I do. But from a medical standpoint, I think it's really important to understand the stresses these horses are subjected to. And I think it would be a real good idea. I think it ought to be a law that everybody that drags a horse trailer down the road should have to ride in one for 30 minutes, just 30 minutes. I think you will really understand what the horse is going through. And you'll also understand why a slant load trailer is so important, because it allows that horse to balance as he's going down the road and making corners. But from a medical standpoint, we understand that stress is kind of a generic term, but we know that is a potential cause or additive cause of respiratory diseases, foot diseases, colic, all these things that stress can be an additive factor. And so what I'd like to do is I would like to be able to limit these stress levels as additive factors in other disease processes. So probably the easiest way to do that, let's just talk about respiratory crud to begin with. Mm-hmm. I'm not a real big fan about putting shavings in a horse trailer. Again, if you ride in one of those things, you will realize how much air is coming through those things and how dusty that is if you've got shavings in there. If you have to bed, then bed in straw. But I think that what we're trying to do is just limit the dust in their environment. The second thing to consider is that stress will also allow these horses to become susceptible to the infectious respiratory diseases that are set up by viruses. I'm not a real big fan of lots of vaccines, but we've had an intranasal flu rhino vaccine out for 20 years or more, and I really like that vaccine. The reason that it works is because it actually addresses a different part of the immune system than our traditional intramuscular vaccines does. We know that we're trying to stimulate something called IgG antibodies when we're dealing with West Nile, rabies, sleeping sickness. But the respiratory crud comes into an IgA system that is inhaled. It's not injected or poked with a biting fly or mosquito like the other diseases are. So this is inhaled. So we're turning on the IgA system, and that's why the intranasal influenza works. So I would recommend that before we ship a horse, 4 to 7 days before they're ready to go, give them an intranasal flu. There's almost no side effects to that, downside.
Okay.
And so that'll cover us. I mean, there's 2 or 3 companies that are making them. You can get those through your veterinarian.
I really think too that there are probably a lot more humans that would take a vaccine if it went up their nose as opposed to in their arm.
I know I would. I talked to an epidemiologist that's an MD a few years ago, and we were talking about that. And apparently, they have had an intranasal flu vaccine for people, but for one reason or another, it's not available anymore. So I don't know if it doesn't work or what, but it's really interesting when we consider the way that we are trying to help the immune system at fighting diseases.
Okay, so I've got intranasal flu down. What's next?
The other thing, which when I tell clients this, I get some pushback from this, and I kind of understand why. But with my personal horses, I never ask them to stand in a trailer for more than 4 hours at a run, and there's reasons for that. The big reason, again, is the respiratory crud. And so if we will get these horses out of the trailer at 4-hour intervals, they can put their head down and they will cough. I've never had one that I didn't get out of the trailer and they put their head down and cough. And this is the body's own defense mechanism for getting rid of a bunch of the stuff that's accumulating in there while they're sitting in that trailer. And I think just getting them out, letting them pee outside the trailer, I mean, it's just a matter of just comfort. I mean, when I have to be on the airplane for 4 hours, I'm nuts. I mean, I need to get out and move around. And so when we're driving, we will typically not stay in our truck or our car for more than 4 hours at a sitting. So why do we expect our horses to do that? So I think we can really reduce the levels or the incidence of respiratory crud if we get them out, let them drop their head and cough, pee outside the trailer, walk around grazing the bar ditch. I generally carry a Coleman stove with me. I'll just get my horses out, tie them to the fence alongside the road, make me a pot of coffee, and then down the road we go again.
Okay, we're not encouraging all horses to do that.
I'm just saying, you say you get pushback. It's because most people don't have horses that can stand tied to a fence next to a road.
Well, I don't even know how to answer that.
No, let's just not. Let's just move on from that one.
No, I always people always wonder, do I take the horse out? I'm like, no, because you might not get it back in. But if you're Dr. Seamans and you have magic, fingers, and you can
unicorn horses, yeah,
and drugs.
No, it's not the horses, and it's darn sure not the drugs. I never drug a horse for a trailer ride. That's a whole other topic. But here's the deal: is that I have never had a horse that I couldn't load and unload with ease. They didn't all start that way, but we worked with them and showed them that it's a safe environment. And so I really don't understand people that are that worried about hauling their horse that they don't want to unload them from the trailer. We may want to have a whole other discussion about the actual psychology of trailer loading.
I don't think that was the argument. I think the argument was unloading them by the road.
Yeah. That's tough for me. I always thought, at least stand still 20 minutes, give them 20 minutes every, 2 hours just to stand still. But I also don't haul horses with their heads tied. I've made my 4-horse into a 2-box stall trailer, and I always say, for these horses that do haul long distances, if you're hiring Creech or Bob Hubbard, they're not going to take your horse out every 4 hours, but buy a box stall, where they have straw up to their elbows, and it's an air ride tractor trailer, and it's more of a comfort ride as opposed to a stressful, standing ride.
You're exactly right. That's a whole nother deal. But just your average 3-horse or 4-horse slant that people are dragging up and down the road to the rodeos, and your point about next to the road is well taken. But if you look, you don't have to just stay on the interstate. You can get off and just drive off, half a mile, and you can find a place to turn out. I mean, it's if you think about it and if you try, it is not that difficult.
Okay, I'm going to come back at you again on that one. Not that I'm picking on you today, but.
You should.
You're following the camping people too, who just live in the West. You can't do that on the East Coast. You'll get shot. So you have all that wide open place where you can find a place to pull off. If you pull off anywhere on the East Coast, you're in somebody's yard.
Uh-oh. Did we lose him?
No. I'm you could hear the rusty wheels turning in my walnut-sized brain. I was actually thinking for just a second. But they don't have truck stops on the East Coast?
Again, you're at a truck stop with lots of traffic. I'm not picking on you. I'm just giving the other side, playing devil's advocate here a little bit about
Glenn,
that.
Okay.
We call Dr. Seamans to get what he does.
That's
so
true.
It doesn't matter what you do. He is.
Well, then I have another controversial one for you. Why not? It's that kind of day.
Lay it on me.
Shipping boots and wraps, or no shipping boots or wraps?
That is a very interesting question. And my wife and I have had some frank discussions about certain aspects of grooming horses that I think may interfere with their overall well-being. Trimming guard hairs around eyes and nostrils is one of them. They can't really see the end of their nose, so those guard hairs are really important. Those tactile hairs are important there so they know where their face is.
Yes, amen.
And I'm convinced that if we put shipping boots and wraps on these horses, they have a difficult time feeling their feet. And so I think, and I can't prove this, but this is just my opinion, I think that first off, support wraps are only going to weaken tendons, and so they're never a good idea. The protective boots, the shipping boots and all that, I don't really care one way or the other about that. I don't do it with my personal horses because my theory, my thought, my opinion is that they interfere with the ability of the horse to feel where his feet are. And perhaps they will wind up with more injuries from that. Now, I've had a few client horses that would scramble in the trailer and hurt themselves because of that. That's a whole nother set of problems that you got there. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? That changing that over to a box type stall situation where they can find their balancing spot, they can put their head down. That will stop most of these horses from scrambling. But as far as is that going to protect, I don't think it will.
One thing that gets me, Dr. Seamans, too, is I used to wrap all the time, and then I moved to Arizona, and I'm like, it is too hot to put wraps around some tendons. I mean, just the simple fact of overheating tendons and everything, it scares me. Yes, you may protect against a laceration, but again, you've got to decide what is best for your horse at the time. Do you have one that's going to scramble around and be a nightmare, or do you have one that's going to stand there nicely? So I think it depends on that. What is your opinion on, and I know this is another hot button for you, like say we're going to ship a horse to Rhode Island, is GastroGuard during that trip going to do anything to help the horse with like an overproduction of acid?
Well, for me, what I would rather do is just hang a hay bag in that horse's stall. We know that the salivary buffers will elevate the natural salivary buffers that are in the horse's mouth. They get released when he's chewing, and those will elevate the pH to a safe level. It's got I think the benchmark on that is above a pH of about 4 will be considered protective, and that's all the GastroGuard is going to do anyway. And so, I think you're better off, and even, this spills over into another topic, but even when I'm treating patients that are EGUS, equine gastroesophageal ulcer syndrome for short, even for my patients, they're not on GastroGuard for very long. There's reasons to do it, and then there's reasons not to do that. And we know now that long-term use of that stuff is probably not in the horse's best interest. Beside the point that it's not cheap. But I have much better luck on just having horses that are eating from the hay bag. I think in that it gives the horse something to do, makes the trip more pleasant because they're munching away. I mean, who doesn't like to have snacks on a road trip,
That is a simple way to put it. They just like snacks on a road trip. Guess what? I do too. So it works out for all of us. As far as offering water, if you leave a bucket in there, it's going to splash around and make big mess and puddles and stuff. Do you take water from home? Do you offer it along the road? How often? What's the deal with that?
I've got one of those little 5-gallon jerry cans you can get at any one of a number of different sporting goods stores. And I generally haul water with me just on the odd chance that I'm in a place where I don't have ready access to water. The good news about water and horses is that they have a reserve around the bed of blood vessels around their gut is called the splanchnic bed. And they have about a 10% reserve around there, whereas humans only have about a 2% reserve. And so I know people that go to some exhaustive lengths to try to get these horses to drink. And the bottom line is, when he's thirsty, he'll drink. So it doesn't really matter where the water comes from. And you can put apple cider vinegar, Kool-Aid, or Gatorade, or whatever you want to put in it. But the bottom line is, let him, offer him some water. I don't leave the water bucket hanging because it just makes a mess. But again, I unload my horses and I offer them something to drink. And it's funny, the paint horse that I'm riding, I ride that something for 10 hours and he just will absolutely not drink water. And this little buckskin filly that we're ponying with us now, she every time we cross a creek, she wants to take a sip. She's kind of like wine tasting for her. She just takes a little bit all the time. So it's individual variation. We got to remember that they have some reserves there. And I don't get too worried about these horses not drinking.
Wow. So basically, I just need to calm down is what you're saying.
Take a big deep breath and just enjoy the ride. And I hadn't, Glenn, I'm so thankful that you brought that up about some logistical challenges on the East Coast. And I truly never thought of that because I've been out here in the West my whole dang life. So
and the reason that came up is because we watch a lot of RV stuff because we have one now. Yeah. So we watch a lot of RV stuff, and everybody in the West is so used to pulling off in the game lands and parking for a night. There's just nowhere you can do that on the East Coast, right? It's just not something that happens. It's a whole different world.
Yeah. Yep. I hear you.
Yeah.
But I guess if I were we're fixing to be in that situation, we're in the process of buying a living quarters trailer, and we're going to go on a national book tour when the book comes out this next summer. So they're going to take our horses, and we're going to try to go to all 48 of the lower states where they have horse friendly.
When you get to Ocala, when you get to Oklahoma and Ocala, you have a place to go.
You're just too kind to me. But, I will probably have a whole different outlook on life about shipping horses when I get to the East Coast.
Yeah, it is
You're like,
different.
I'm not taking these damn things out again. Come on, suck it up. Get going. Well, Dr. Seamans,
That every 4-hour thing's going to go to 12.
Yeah, exactly.
I was just about to ask you about the book. So it's coming out next summer. This is the second go round. Tell everybody about it.
Yes, it's called Never Trust a Sneaky Pony and Other Things They Did Not Teach Me in Vet School.
And you can go pre-order that probably, but your website, it has a lot of great photos and information, is cornerstoneequinevet.com. And there's just one E in between Cornerstone and Equine. So cornerstoneequinevet.com. And you can find out more there and get in touch with you and find out all about your books and pick your brain.
Thanks so much, y'all. Thanks so much for calling me. I always enjoy talking with y'all.
Well, we'll have you on again soon if you haven't gotten too mad at Glenn.
I think he's sick of us now, and he's like, I'm like
No, I really look forward to this. This is always so much fun with you guys, and you always have some very, very thought-provoking types of insights, and that's how I learn, and I appreciate that very much.
But, Dr. Seamans, you're one of the few veterinarians we have on here that we know well enough that we can come back at you like that and have a discussion. Otherwise, it's like this first time we're talking to the person. That's why we like having you on, because we can have it's more of a discussion, right, than a lecture. So.
Well, but it should be okay, and I can tell you, I write for this Horse Vet Corner. I do a blog on for those guys, and I learned so much from those questions. And if my life became a lecture, I would not have improved in my ability since 1985. I mean, what's the point? And so I just love getting that type of feedback and those kinds of things that somebody will say, well, why? And I don't know. I've always done it that way. Now that you mention it, dang, maybe we ought to rethink this. So I love talking to you guys and my clients in general, because they challenge me, and that's the way it ought to be.
You know what? I don't think anybody has ever used thought-provoking to Glenn ever.
I was just thinking
provoking, but not thought-provoking. Yeah, okay.
Exactly. Well, Glenn, I will send you a picture of Dr. Seamans and I together, because we got to use for the show notes picture today, because we got to hang out at Monty's place in California, which was the movement. It was just life-changing. So I'll send you that.
It was pretty fun.
Doc, I love you. I mean it. Give your wife a big hug from us, and thank you so much.
Well, do that. You're not coming to Nashville here in another month for the AAT, right?
No, they won't let me in there.
They should. They should. You guys should set up a booth there. But I get to have the day before the big meeting starts, which is always on Saturday. They have a student session, and so we get to play with baby vets during the student session, and then I get such a charge out of working with those young people. They're just on fire. They were so smart and just so willing to learn. So if you guys ever get a chance to get there, I think you'll really enjoy it. It's really fun.
I would love that. Well, thanks, Dr. Seamans. Have a great day. We love you, and we love you, mean it.
Bye, Dr. Seamans.
Thanks so much. All right. Bye-bye.
And that wraps it up for today. This is Coach Jen. I will be back again soon with another tip. Until then, go ride your horse. The Horse Radio Network and the Horse Radio Network hosts are not responsible for statements made by guests on the Horse Tip Daily. Please use your own judgment when listening to the tips on this show.